नमस्कार. आयच्या सत्ताग्रहा भितर तुमकां सगळ्याक येवकार आनी विशय आसा तो जो एक 19 मिनटाचें अधिवेशन जालें जाका सत्ताधारी पक्ष धरून विरोधी पक्ष मेरेन कोणूच सिरियसली घेवपाक तयार ना. 3 मिनटां ते 4 मिनटांचे राज्यपालाचें अभिभाशण आनी अल्टिमेटली एक प्रसंग आयलो की बाबा हें कितें, कारण अल्टिमेटली विधानसभा जी म्हणटात तें लोकशाहीचें सगळ्यांत म्हत्वाचें सर्वोच्च अशें स्थान, पवित्र स्थान. थंयच जर अशी गजाली जातात आनी तें कायद्याचो आधार घेवन किंवा कायद्याचे कलम दाखोवन किती बरोबर किती चूक, स्पिरीट ऑफ द लॉ आणि लेटर ऑफ द लॉ हातूंतलो फरक कसो करप आनी एक लेटर खंय सोंपता आनी स्पिरीट खंय सुरू जाता हाजेर आमी आज भासाभास करतात. 4 मानेस्त आसा म्हजे बरोबर स्टुडियो भितर. पयली आसात ते गोंयच्या नामनेचे आदवोगाद आणि एक आदले एडव्होकेट जनरल सुबोधबाब कंटक. सर, स्वागत तुमचें. दुसरे आसात म्हजे बरोबर आमचे पॉलिटिकल कमेंटेटर आणि कायद्याचे अभ्यासक आणि आदवोगाद क्लियोफास बाब कुतीन. स्वागत तुमचें. तिसरे आसात म्हजे बरोबर गोंयचे आदले मुख्यमंत्री आणि काँग्रेसीचे फुडारी दिगंबर बाब कामत. स्वागत. आणि एक चौथी आसात म्हजे बरोबर आमदार आणि भाजपाचे फुडारी सुभाष फळदेसाय. सुबोध बाब, सुरवात तुमचे कडच्यान कर. कारण स्पिरीट ऑफ द लॉ आणि लेटर ऑफ द लॉ हाजेर म्हाका दिसता बरेंच कुफुसांव जाला. खरेंच हें अधिवेशन अशें घेवपाची गरज आशिल्ली आनी जेन्ना मतदान जालां आनी रिजल्ट प्रॅक्टिकली सीलबंद आसा अशे परिस्थितीक हाजे लिगल सँक्टिटी कितें?
Now, there are 2 aspects. Session had to be held. If, see, as I understand, the last session was on 31st of August. So within 6 months, they would expire on 28th of February. जर 28 फेब्रुवारी पर्यंत सेशन ना, then under Article 356, President rule लावपाकूच पडटली गोंयांत. And it would be governor who would be taking over the administration through the president. This is a mandate that you have to have it within.
This is the law.
This is a mandate. Supreme Court said it in a referential case from Gujarat. Now, Gujarat order happened was assembly was dissolved, and election commission could not complete the election within the 6-month period. So, president made a reference to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gave it on 2 different points. One, in a case of a dissolved assembly, you can't call it as a limitation period for election commission. So many veterans घेवपाकूच जाय म्हणून. But they also said if it is a live assembly, then the provision of Article 174 is mandatory, and you must hold assembly session. You must not allow 6 months to lapse. If it lapses, then 356 in Unda. If a government cannot be run in accordance with the constitution, then president's rule. Now, if the government can't hold that session within 6 months, then you can't run it in accordance with the constitution. So 356 would apply, president's rule would come. So decision to hold the session is correct.
Okay.
They had to hold it. Now, the manner in which it is held, I would call it a complete fraud on the constitution. It's a mockery of the constitution in the manner in which it is held. You can't blame election commission for a assembly session. Say assembly session are 2 गोष्टी असतात. One is you carry on a legislative business. Second, you discuss the administration of the government. Now, where members will ask questions, etc., etc. Now, legislative business, obviously, you can't carry on because of the code of conduct. But certainly, you can carry on. Now, as I understand, there is the business advisory committee which regulates the work of the assembly. Right. Now, you restrict it to 2 sessions. You restrict the number of questions because the administration also will be under a strain to answer election commission on code of conduct. तांचेकडे कामां खूब आसतलीं. So, restrict कर the session. Questions restrict कर. But session you have to hold. Now, governor comes in the house, addresses the house by saying, I have to hold this session to avoid the technical problem of dissolution or technical problem of this is complete fraud. So, government there, according to me, should have held it much earlier and a proper assembly session.
Proper assembly session. तुम्ही कशी पळयता? कारण 2 मुद्दे येतात तातूंत भितरलो. एक म्हळ्यार प्रेसिडेंट्स रूल लागपाक शकता आशिल्लो आनी दुसरें तुमी म्हळ्यार की इफ द असेंब्ली इज लायव्ह then it has to be held within 6 months. Can we consider this assembly as live once the election is held?
Yeah.
And the mandate is sealed?
Yeah. See, there are 2 issues there. Subodh said that this is a fraud in the constitution. I am saying it's a much bigger fraud. Simply because that session on 31st August was not a full-fledged session. It was called one-day session to pass the GST amendment law. So to that extent, even on 31st August was some sort of a technical session. This is not technical, even that was a technical session, only to meet that requirement. Now, secondly, I feel that the government had lost or failed in its constitutional responsibility of seeing to it that the House was called before 6 months. And when I mean before 6 months, the House should have been called in November or December. The government knew that elections would be somewhere in the month of February or March. And if that is so, then there is no point in holding a session in January. It should have been November or December. Now the next issue is on Subodh's of President's rule. I have a different take on that. My thing is that the government could have continued. The government on its own should have dissolved the House.
Okay.
I am saying they should have dissolved the House simply because there was no sense in holding such a session. There was no sense in making joke of our assembly. They have made a joke of our assembly, and to avoid that joke, they should have dissolved the House. And in any case, the government would continue. But Subodh is right that if the House continues, then there would be a technical problem.
You are saying the government should have taken responsibility and dissolved and remained as a caretaker.
And caretaker government, because at least they would have taken that responsibility. Because I would say no government, at least our Goa state, should not be the first one to have this constitutional breach. Such a breach has never happened anywhere in India. And we should not be the first to breach it.
सर तुमच्याही पक्षान मुद्दो काडिल्लो की 6 महिन्या भितर सेशन जालें ना म्हणून एंड मागीर ज्या तरेन सेशन जालें ताजेर तुमी सगळ्यांनी टिका केल्या तुमकां कितें अभिप्रेत आशिल्लें सरकारान कितें करचें म्हणून
पळय आमी म्हणटात की लेजिस्लेटिव्ह असेंब्ली इज द टेम्पल ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी नाव अधिवेशन कोणे आपोवचें कशें आपोवचें कितले दिसा भितर आपोवचें हाका सगळें वेदर कॉन्स्टिट्युशनल प्रोविजन्स आसा बिझनेस रुल्स आसा सगळें आसा सरकाराचो लॉ डिपार्टमेंट आसता सरकाराचो लेजिस्लेटिव्ह डिपार्टमेंट आसता नॉर्मली जेन्ना सेशन आपयतात तेन्ना मिनिमम 21 दिसाची नोटीस दिवची पडटा नोटिफिकेशन इश्यू करता आनी ताजी फायल जवळ जवळ एक 45 ते 50 दीस पयलीं मूव जाता लेजिस्लेचर डिपार्टमेंटा कडल्यान मूव जाता इन्फॉर्मिंग दॅट 6 months आर एंडिंग ऑन दीस डेट हेन्स प्रोविजन डेट मे बी गिवन फॉर फिक्सिंग ऑफ द असेंब्ली सेशन आता हें खरें म्हणलें बरें पयलीं म्हणजे डिसेंबराक नोव्हेंबराक डिसेंबराक फायल मायट हॅव बीन मूव्ड ऑल्सो आय डू नॉट नो पूण काल पयर विधानसभेत एक मंत्री म्हणटालो की डिस्कसय जाल्लें अशें म्हणून केन्ना तरी मदीं तांचें डेट फिक्स करपाचें पूण तें मागीर फॉलोअप जालें ना तें जर डिसेंबरांत बी जाल्लें जाल्यार एक दिसाचें जायना पूण फूल फ्लॅश सेशनाचें जाता आशिल्लें म्हणजे पयलीं म्हणजे गव्हर्नराचो एड्रेस आसना आशिल्लो आनी यू कूड हॅव गॉन फॉर क्वेश्चन अवर वॉट एवर बिझनेस ऑफिशियल बिझनेस एडवायझरीची मिटींग जावपाक शकताली ह्या खेपेक जालें कितें नवे वर्साचें सेशन गव्हर्नर्स एड्रेस इज ए मस्ट फर्स्ट टायम इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ गोवा गव्हर्नर इज एड्रेसिंग द हाऊस गिविंग रिझन्स फॉर होल्डिंग दीस सेशन गव्हर्नर्स एड्रेस इज व्हेरी स्पेसिफिक गव्हर्नर हॅज टू स्पेल आउट द पॉलिसीज ऑफ द गव्हर्नमेंट फॉर द फूल इयर म्हणजे त्या हातूंत भितर गव्हर्नराचो एड्रेस पळय आसा तो गव्हर्नर सांगता आपल्या सरकारान कितें केलां आनी आपलें सरकार कितें करपाक सोदता हो ताजो त्या हातूंत भितर सब्जेक्ट आसता ही स्पेल्स आउट द पॉलिसीज हातूंत भितर अशें लक्षांत आयलें की म्हाका आयतारा रातची म्हाका नोटीस पावल्या मंगळाराक सेशन म्हणून तो पर्यंत आमी पेपरांनी वाचून आयकताले की देर इज नो नीड ऑफ सेशन आतां नो नीड ऑफ सेशन जाल्यार इट वूड हॅव गॉन फॉर प्रोबेबली प्रेसिडेंट्स रूल बिकॉज मिडनायट ऑफ 28th इवनिंग night probably they will have to take a decision to impose president's rule because of breach of constitutional law. आता गव्हर्नर येतात आणि गव्हर्नर फक्त रिझन सांगता कित्या खातीर आपूण हांगा आसा ते आनी गव्हर्नर गोज बॅक सो हे थंय ज्या पद्दतीन तें सेशन मागीर गोंयांत हाजे पयलीं अशें केन्ना जावं ना सो दीस इज बेजिकली भायर एक मेसेज रॉंग मेसेज तातूंतल्यान गेली की ज्या पद्दतीन अशें जें सेशन जालें पळय तातूंत इवन म्हणजे पॉलिसी काय कितें म्हणून सांगतलो गव्हर्नर सुद्धा येऊन कितें सांगतली अशे प्रश्न
व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग मुद्दा कारण तुमच्या सरकारान एक कन्सिस्टंट भूमिका घेतिल्ली इवन कोटिंग दी प्रेझेंट एडवोकेट जनरल की सरकार सद्याक तरी सेशन घेवपाक पळयना आनी ती गरज ना क्लियरफास हो मुद्दा की तुमीच डिझॉल्व करपाचे कॅरेटेकर म्हणून रावपाचे 11 दिसाचो प्रश्न आशिल्लो कित्याक जाली हें कफुसां कारण अल्टिमेटली यू आर द रुलींग पार्टी सगळे जाण म्हणटले की तुमी हें कित्याक केलें
दिस इज अ डिबेटेबल इशू every article or the constitutions you interpret in your own fashions you see the much before or a week before all those opposition parties were saying that it is mandatory and it cannot be held. Some of these people were saying that it was not required. So all these are debatable issues. Now the government has taken this stand in order to avoid any unconstitutional or constitutional problem to fulfill the constitutional requirement or a mandate. This session is called. There is nothing lost. There is no loss in that. The circumstances have come. Everybody says that but this type of situation has never come before in any of the assembly, wherein there was a gap of 140 days. Result much before that, elections were scheduled in the last week or the first week of March. Elections were called by the Election Commission of India much before its expiry. The term ek mahina tari pude adile sa. So in these circumstances, government was not aware that the elections are being held. As our Digambar Kamath said, the file was moved and it was under the process that we could have this session much before the elections. But unfortunately or fortunately, the elections have come. The dates were announced much before what was expected. So हातून भितर इवन आमी म्हणटाले की सुबोधबाब म्हणटाले की legislations एक आमी business आणि business म्हळ्यार not only the legislations or whatever it is, policies, definitions or administration, but both these things are linked to each other. If any question comes, then we have to refer to that. We have to make some announcement.
Government is not in a position to answer. You are saying government right now is not in a position to answer.
Pramod, I just want to add to this. Yeah. See, the Election Commission could have held the elections till the 10th of March and announced the results on 12th of March. They could have done it. Then Digambar Kamath says that 21 days notice was required. If that is so, then the government should have taken this responsibility by December. And my friend is wrong to say that it was possible in that period. If 21 days notice you take and 4th elections are held, then it was just not possible. Basically, the government slept over its responsibility. One. Secondly, the point that we are trying to say is, even at the time when they were framing the constitution, they wanted to make this gap 3 months. But they finally agreed for 6 months. But 3 months because more and more sessions should come, more and more legislative business should take place. But somehow they kept this period of 6 months. But even that 6 months period, we are unable to meet is something very
There cannot
serious.
be an excuse.
There cannot be an excuse.
एक गजाल अगर live assembly आहे तो प्रश्न विचारला की do you consider this as a live assembly? Because the mandate is sealed, government is practically a caretaker government. Legally, is this a live assembly?
The assembly comes to an end only on declaration of the new assembly. Till that time, this assembly is live. And Kulufat म्हणतात 6 महिन्याचे 3 महिने. Now under Government of India Act, it was 6 months. It was bodily lifted and put as a draft article in our constitution. There was a big debate on this. 3 महिने करूया म्हणून. But finally it was said की आम्ही काय म्हणतात minimum तरी 2. Nobody has stopped you from making 3 or 4. You can have as many sessions as you want. But minimum 2 करपाकूच जाय.
No, Subodh. Imagine that one-day session of 31st August. It was a session. Was it a session?
You have to call it an assembly session.
I know, that is right. But then again, it was a technical session.
It was not technical. It was
No, technical because mandate, but otherwise it was not a full-fledged session.
Two-third states passing that law.
Just to
But-
rectify
Yes.
the
Yes,
bills passed by the
Parliament.
Parliament.
So, but it was a session.
Yes.
Right? Our business was transacted at this session. My objection to this session is, what is the business? Like now he
No, but
says,
his point is, business cannot
but
be
I
transacted.
think- I think-
interlinked. It cannot be interlinked.
No.
See, legislative business is when you pass bills. Administration business is tomorrow he can question a particular act of the government which has taken place in the past. Okay? And he is the person concerned, the minister concerned or whoever has supposed to answer. This is for public. It is not for him if he asks the question. Public should know how their representatives are working.
No, when he is not in power, I mean, when he cannot take the decision
No,
in the
but this is not
circumstances,
the
a
power.
concerned minister or a chief minister has to answer the question and also announce the policy for ratifying
the
that.
problem
If there is
is,
any,
see Subodh, the problem is if you say, yes, we made a mistake, the problem gets over.
problem gets
The
over.
problem here is, they don't say that we made a mistake. They say we will not hold a session. We will not dissolve the house. And at the last minute do it.
Sattagraha will be back after a short break.
The best of the best. and Institute, a name that hotel industry trusts.
An Institute of Hotel Management and Admission घेवन बरे शिकप करून हॉटेलाचो मॅनेजर जावन फुडाराक तुज्यान एक व्हडलो मनीस जावं येता. देखून ऍडमिशन घे फकत An Institute पोरवोरेम.
Learn from the best. An Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, a name that hotel industry trusts. Admissions open for degree and diploma courses. An Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Goa's first ISO 9001-2000 certified educational institute. Nova Sidari Commercial Complex, S1 Building, Alto Pororim Padres, Goa. Contact 0832 241 1350 or 9326 11491.
After a great success in fabrication industries for last 30 years, Abab Industries now enters in dairy industries. Say cheers to health with Ameya milk and milk products. 100% fresh milk, no powder, no preservatives, unadulterated. Ameya milk and milk products coming soon in your nearest retail stores. Tone milk, standardized milk, dahi, ghee, lassi and paneer. For distribution call 9545835225. Email info@interfaith.com. Address plot number 11 Pisulle IDC Pisulle Sattari Goa.
जर गव्हर्नमेंटान कांय केलें नाशिल्लें 28 तारखेक रातीन प्रेसिडेंट्स रूल येता आशिल्लो. कितें जाता आशिल्लें प्रेसिडेंट रूल आयिल्ले जाल्यार अकरा दिसां खातीर?
कितें जाता What difference it would? As it is, there is no
How it
administration.
been suspended?
Correct.
How it been suspended?
Yeah. Doesn't make any
Governor takes over the administration and technically the admission asks
No. One thing would have happened. That for the first time in the history, it would happen that Goa breached the constitution. 174 was breached in Goa. Why we should take that blame? Why should such a scar come on us?
If that is the case, then they have saved us from that disgrace, no?
What is that?
They have saved us from that
No, but
disgrace.
who created that disgrace?
Okay. So you are saying the creator cannot say that I am the
Yes,
savior.
yes.
Okay.
During the president's rule also, there was a wildlife notification and it had created a lot of disturbances. When president's rule आयिल्लो आमकां कोणाक नाका आसतना code of conduct national, but I'm just bringing out president can, I mean, sometimes unwanted
11 दिसां सुद्दां बी खूब कितें जावपाक
कितें
शकता.
जावपाक शकता केलें जर जाय जाल्यार म्हणून.
म्हाका एक गजाल सांगात व्हेरी फ्रँकली. आता एक कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट म्हणटा तो प्रकार जो आसा पळय, एव्हरीबडी इज टॉकिंग अबाउट कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट. आता ते जर स्वता गव्हर्नर आयले आनी गव्हर्नर म्हणपाक लागले बिकॉज ऑफ कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट आय एम डुईंग दिस. व्हॉट इज दिस कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट?
You are looking at trouble where there is none.
ओके.
Absolutely. Every department washes its hands off. They don't want to be on the wrong side of the election commission. Okay?
No,
That's
they
why I
also
say
do
code
not
of
want to
conduct.
take
Code of
decisions,
conduct.
Subodh, they also do not want to take decisions.
They don't
It helps
take
them.
decisions.
कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट म्हाका खरें सांग. आता अजून 11 दीस उरल्यात, 10 दीस
I'll give one
उरल्यात.
example.
कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट कोणाक लागता?
हांव एक एक्झाम्पल दिता.
हय.
एक इलिगल कंस्ट्रक्शन चालू आहा.
हय.
And you complain. Is the PDA or the town country planning not supposed to act? They're supposed to act because there's a statutory duty. When there's a statutory duty, you have to perform it. You can't say code of conduct now statutory duty perform करतो ना म्हणून. Let us put another way. Supposing तुका दिला की 30 दीस भितर तूं म्हजें एप्लिकेशन ग्रांट करपा जाय ना रिफ्यूज करपा जाय. If you don't do it, there is deeming. It is grant दर्या असं म्हणून. Now तूं म्हणटा कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट आहा. हांव 40 दीस कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट आहा. So my application remains pending with you for 30 days. Then law tells me I got my permission. So you have either to grant it to me or you have to refuse me within those 30 days. So code of conduct does not come in the way of your statutory duties. आणि एक पळय जेन्ना when I was representing the government, High Court एक petition चलतालें on the CRZ areas. आणि our authorities did not comply with High Court orders of demolition or taking action. And reason given was that code of conduct लागला आमच्यानी करपाक जायना म्हणून. So Justice Bobde, who is now sitting in Supreme Court, ताणे क्लियर ऑर्डर पास केल्या की कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट हायकोर्टाची ऑर्डर मिटींग कोणा लागना. हायकोर्टाची ऑर्डर दिल्यो नॉट स्टँडिंग कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट टू कम्प्लाय. सेम थिंग अप्लायज टू स्टॅच्युटरी. इफ देयर इज अ स्टॅच्युटरी फंक्शन यू हॅव टू डिस्चार्ज दॅट फंक्शन.
हे कोड ऑफ कंडक्टाचे खूळ इल्ले चडूच जाला ह्या खेपे.
इलेक्शनाचो कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट
हय.
हो पयलीं सगळ्यांनी वाचून पळोवपाक जाय.
हय.
This code of conduct is basically some regulations on the candidates who contest the election. What they should do, what they should not do.
And for party in power.
Second, for the party in power. For example, मिनिस्टरांनी आपल्या गाडयो घेऊन वचपाक जायना आनी कितें हें करपाक जायना कोणाचेर फावोर करपाक
Foundation slow जावपाक
दीज आर द सर्टन थिंग्स विच द पार्टी इन पॉवर हॅज टू फॉलो.
हे सरकारी अधिकाऱ्याक लागना.
सरकारी अधिकाऱ्याक लागपाकच शकना. म्हाका अजाप दिसता की प्रत्येक जण आपल्याला जो तो सांगता
तुम्ही आता मडगावचे आमदार म्हणून विचारता म्युन्सिपालिटी मिटिंग घेना सध्या कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट म्हणून.
म्युन्सिपालिटी इज गवर्न बाय द म्युन्सिपल ऍक्ट.
हय.
Right? Now, municipality, I can understand that, okay, you don't take any decisions which may bestow some favor on somebody, which can say that, okay, you are trying to favor somebody at the time of election. But you have to prepare a budget. What it has to do with even parliament budget was allowed to be passed.
By Supreme Court.
Supreme
Why
Court
not
said-
municipality?
Exactly. It is a law under the municipal act. Municipality's budget has to be approved before certain date.
तुमकाय लागता म्युन्सिपालिटी तुमकां पंचायती लागतात. तुमचो अनुभव कितें कोड ऑफ कंडक्टाचो कारण आता असेंब्ली धरून पंचायत मेरेन हे कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट म्हणटा त्या प्रकरणाचो अशी परिस्थिती
पहिले
जाल्या.
सांगता पीपल अगेन इंटरप्रेट
हय.
आणि इंटरप्रेट टू टेक आउट दी एक्सक्युजेस नॉट टू डू दी वर्क. सेकंडली कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट वॉट आय लुक एट इट इलेक्शन जाल्ले आसा सील जाल्ले आसा आणि आयज कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट लायलो तो मर्यादित कॅन्डिडेटा पुरतो उरपाक जाय ते डिपार्टमेंटां वचपाक जायना. म्हणजे स्टॅच्युटरी ड्युटीज करता आसतना तातूंत भितर येवपाक जायना. आनी वॉट डज इट मेक डिफरन्स ऑन नाव दी पोल इज कोणाक एक लायसन्स दिलें इज इट गोइंग टू मेक डिफरन्स टू युपी गव्हर्मेंट युपीची इलेक्शनाक जातले हांगा बारीक सारीक गोश्टी केले जाल्यार दिस इज नॉट आय मीन ह्यो इलेक्शन जावचे पयलीं आमी कितें म्हणपाक शकता रिजल्ट इलेक्शनाचे रिजल्ट मे गो इन फेवर ऑल दिस थिंग्स. नाव आमचे सगळे भवितव्य असते बंदिस्त पेटयां भितर आसतना परत आनीक
रॅशनल कांयच ना तुमचें.
कांयच ना. आनीक नोबडी इलेक्शन इवन इलेक्शन कमिशन म्हणून म्हाका दिसना की ताजेर स्पश्टीकरण दिवपाक शकता. तुम्ही करा मरे कितें करा मरे. दिस इज वॉट इट इज गोइंग ऑन. एवरीबडी इज इंटरप्रेटिंग इन हिज ओन फॅशन.
किंवा एक सादी गजाल मदीक हो एक 35 दिसाचो काळ आयला म्हणून एक कुफुसांव जाला. इलेक्शन जावन 2 दिसां भितर रिजल्ट जाल्लो हें कुफुसांव जायनाशिल्लें.
No, even then during the campaign period this would apply, no. See, what I am saying is that this code must apply for two things. One is policy decision and secondly if it can influence the voters. Otherwise there can be
What
no...
now? See, even government is going to the election commission and saying that relax the code of conduct.
Yes.
But election commission is taking a stand. We are not going to relax the code of conduct.
This is
done. Election commissioner code relax कर म्हणून रिक्वेस्ट करप itself is a weakness.
Correct.
Government must have guts to say that this is not covered by the election code. हांव तुका एक्झाम्पल दिता. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिपार्टमेंटान ट्रक मारता आणि एक जंक्शना वेलो खांबो मोडून उडयता. Are you going to say that we will not replace the pole and the entire area will be in
Why
darkness
should only
till the
government
election?
ask for it? Everybody has got a right. Why only government has to come in front? Any citizen of India, citizen of Goa can go and ask, what is the code of conduct?
Correct.
Where does it apply?
The
Why
whole-
should government come and interfere?
The government come and interfere because the administration is not doing anything. The administration has gone dormant. It is from that perspective that we are saying it is the government's responsibility. That every decision should be taken by the government. The department should function. That is why the government.
No, when government come in front with these issues, there is likely to be criticized that government is trying to pressurize the election commission. That's why somebody has to move in court and get
after the
clarification on that.
After the elections are over, I don't think this criticism will be there.
Will be there. तुम्ही या टिळ्याकडे कशें पळयता तो सोडोवप कसो?
You are not taking decisions first. तुम्ही तुम्ही डिसिजन घ्या न्ही पयलीं. तुम्ही भिवन रावल्या. As I said earlier, don't want to be on the wrong side of the election commission. कित्याक? आज example तुमका Goa State Pollution Control Board is not considering applications for consents and renewal of consents. People have to go to High Court. And High Court election commission येवन सांगता ना हें लागना कोड ऑफ कंडक्टात यू कॅन कन्सिडर. पूण हांगा तो असो पार्टी कोर्टांत वचना आनी तो रावता जाल्यार कितें ताचें एप्लिकेशन डिसायड जायना. सो बागुल बुवा आमीच बेटे भिवन रावल्या. भिवपाची गरजूच ना.
I feel there should be a consensus amongst all the parties or affected people. They should come together. All the parties, if they join together and ask for the election commissioner clarification, what all the things which are permitted.
फुडले पळय प्रमोद. Election code of conduct is very clear. It gives guidelines for candidates and it gives guidelines for party in power. In party in power, the closest that you can come is 3 or 4 aspects. No financial grants to be given. No promises to be made how rasto bantolo, bridges bantolo te karpache. You must not use your official vehicles and you must not lay any foundation stones etc etc etc.
जाल्यार जे असेंब्ली सेशन जालें त्या दीस सरकारान कितें करपाक जातालें?
सपोज बिझनेस आतां ट्रान्झॅक्ट केल्लो
हय.
आनी समज एक क्वेश्चन विचारलेलो खंयच्या एका मिनिस्टराक बाबा तुजें हें डिसिजन we are criticizing your decision. Now he has got two options. He can justify his decision and tell public at large that I have not done anything wrong. Opposition may succeed by putting on the floor saying that your decision is wrong. हातून पॉलिसी काय हातून तुम्ही जे डिसिजन घेतला ताजेर क्वेश्चन तुका विचारता. Already. There is nothing you are going to do further. Between August and January, whatever decisions you have taken, now you are going out without answering those decisions.
ओके, दिस इज अ व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट. तुमकां कितें दिसता सरकारान त्या दीस कितें करपाक जाय आशिल्लें?
असेंब्ली सेशन जेन्ना समन्स केलें सगळ्यांत पयलीं बिझनेस एडवायझरी कमिटीची मिटींग जावपाक जाय. इट इज ए मस्ट. तूं जर बारीक पळयत एनी सेशन एक दिसाचें सुद्दां जर सेशन आपयत बिझनेस एडवायझरी कमिटी हॅज टू मीट अँड डिसायड दीस इज गोइंग टू द बिझनेस. नाव हियर बिझनेस एडवायझरी कमिटी वॉज ऑल्सो नॉट कॉल्ड फॉर सो दॅट दे कूड डिसायड बाबा हें कितें एक क्वेश्चन आन्सर घेवया किंवा आनी कितें घेवया कांयच जावना न्ही तें. सो वी आर जस्ट कॉल्ड फॉर द सेशन. इवन सेशना आमकां पळय नोटीस आयल्या ताजेर अजेंडा बिजेंडा कांय नाशिल्लो. इट ओनली सेड दॅट गव्हर्नर वील कम एंड एड्रेस. It categorically said governor will address why about the reasons why the session is being held.
No, फाल्यां जर बिझनेस एडवायझरची मीटिंग सुद्दां जाल्ली कितें बिझनेस गव्हर्नमेंट करपाक शकता आशिल्लें?
क्वेश्चन आन्सर दवरपाक जालो सेशन.
So every question is linked with the assurances.
No, they need
The
not give
ministers
assurances.
will
No,
not be able to make any assurances because
they-
why you ask the question is to get the assurance from the minister.
See,
so in these circumstances, minister will not be in a position, he cannot.
They need not give the assurances. पण आता थंय कितें जाता आतां जालें कितें आयले 2 मिनटां भितर येवन गव्हर्नरान आपलें रिजन कितें सांगलें आनी वी हॅड अशें हाजे पयलीं केन्ना गोंयच्या इतिहासांत
कितें करपाचें सरकारान?
There is one more issue that has to be raised. Now, normally when the governor addresses, the governor is thanked, and the motion of thanks has to be carried by the house. Now, in this case, which government is going to thank the governor for the address? Now, next government is it the responsibility of the government, next government, to thank the governor for the address which is already given? And what happens if that address is defeated? See, I don't think the government should have taken the house.
If the address is defeated, government is defeated, which no longer exists.
What is this now? I mean, this is a joke that has been played on us.
मागीर तुमकां खरेंच दिसता काय तुम्ही कन्फ्यूज आशिल्ले लास्ट मिनिट मेरेन तुम्ही कन्फ्यूज आशिल्ले की घेवप काय घेवप ना आनी तातूंत भितर एक खुफुसांव जालें?
No, everybody was confused. It is not only we or ruling side or opposition side. Only to protect. म्हाका आतां जर कित्याक छातीन दुखपाक लागले जर जायत, I prefer going for angiography. So it doesn't mean that I have to go for bypass, but I will see that okay, I have done my things. म्हणजे आमकां स्टॅच्युटरी कितें लागतले जावं कितें हें जातलें रिजल्ट कितें येतलें whatever it may be, we should not be failed in our duties. We should not breach the constitution. It's because of that this session was conducted. There is nothing wrong in conducting. म्हणजे कितें आबाळ कोसळ्ळें ना की सेशन घेतलें म्हणून, but we have completed the process. So that there should not be any constitutional breach.
ओके, हांव इतल्याचेच आमकां म्हाका दिसता सगळे बाजू लोकां मुखार दवरल्यात. प्रश्न जरी बिकट आनी किचकटीचो आसलो तरी म्हाका दिसता आज चित्र बरें स्पश्ट जालां. अल्टिमेटली आमी जेन्ना डेमोक्रेसी म्हणटात, अल्टिमेटली डेमोक्रेसी सस्टेन्स अँड थ्रायव्स ऑन इट्स इन्स्टिट्यूशन्स. पण जेन्ना इन्स्टिट्यूशन्सच वीक जावपाक लागतात किंवा इन्स्टिट्यूशन्साकच कीड लागिल्ल्या भशेन दिसता तेन्ना ती कीड इव्हेंच्युअली डेमोक्रेसीक लागपाक शकता. ती जावची न्ही. म्हाका दिसता इतलीच सगळ्यांची हांगा इच्छा आसा की प्रोसिजर्सांतल्यानच इन्स्टिट्यूशन्स उबी रावतात, प्रोसिजरांतल्यानच उबी रावतात आनी ती घट्ट जातात. ती मोव जावची न्ही. म्हाका दिसता इतलोच सगळ्यांचो हांगा हेतू आसा हें करतना. फुडली सरकार खंयची येतलें खबर ना, तें 11 तारखेक पळोवया. तुमी आयल्या इतली बरे तरेन मतां मांडली. थँक्स अ लॉट. आनी 2 कॅन्डिडेट आसा हांगा. ऑल द बेस्ट टू बोथ ऑफ यू. अनिल पळयत रावात प्रुडंट. नमस्कार.